everybody. Gloria Moraga, political woman. Thanks for being here. I am working on and have been working on a timeline, a Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump timeline. And it's so comprehensive that I thought I'd break it up into two parts. So part one will be just 2025. What has happened so far this year? And then I might do part two, and that will be the prequel to part one, which would be kind of a rundown of the relationship and how we got here and when we got here. We all know that Donald Trump and a few of the people he has appointed to the highest offices in the Justice Department were adamant, made millions of dollars with podcasts and such on the whole Epstein Files release. The Epstein Files, release them now. Let's find these child molesters, root them out, and prosecute them. Now, they were big talkers until they got into the Justice Department and read the files. And then it was like, oh, well, there's nothing here. So all of this is pre-2025. And two other items prior to 2025. There's a lot of talk about why didn't Biden, why are Democrats jumping on this bandwagon now? Biden didn't release files. Well, actually, the files were all sealed and not really releasable until these are the Florida files, Epstein's prosecution in Florida. And he was convicted down in Florida, but he was given kind of a slap on the wrist. He was given like 18 months or something, and then a couple of months house arrest. And he was like at a country club. But then he was charged in New York and arrested and brought to New York. And that was when the alleged suicide or alleged murder took place. And then he died, and a lot of stuff was buried with him, but not some of these files. Well, this landmark decision in Florida in 2024, July 2nd, 2024, and a lot of the documents were released. Landmark decision followed the approval of HB 117, which was sponsored by a state lawmaker, signed by DeSanctimonious. The bill provides opening of the Jeffrey Epstein files sealed in Palm Beach County. So some of those files were then released. But they were released, but they weren't public. And those records, some of those records show that Epstein and his group of pedophiles sexually abused and trafficked more than 200 teenagers. And that number goes a lot higher when you look at his crimes in New York and his crimes in other locations. Those were just the Florida crimes. Now, during the presidential race, Trump repeatedly promised, as did his supporters, that he would be willing to release the Epstein files, including names of Epstein's clients, the scumbags, the child molesters, rapists, and documents. So all that was promised. And again, I will say from 2021 to 2025, when President Biden was president, the Epstein files were under strict federal court orders not to be made public because of the victims, for the privacy of the trafficking victims, including many minors. So Biden followed the law, unlike Trump. The law says that no president can bypass federal judges to release sealed court evidence to the public, except for in that case in Florida, where Florida law allowed some of the files to be freed up. So I hope that helps. So let's get going. Early 2025. Before taking office, and when he took office, Trump appointed leaders to the Justice Department and FBI who had promised the right-wing base, they would get to the bottom of the Epstein investigation. February 21st, 2025, Attorney General Pam Bondi tells Fox, not a news station, that she's got files on her desk and she's going to release the Jeffrey Epstein client list. And here's the quote. It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been the directive by President Trump. I'm working on that, reviewing that. February 26th. Once again, Bondi hypes on Fox the release of documents set for the following day, calling it breaking news and saying it will include a lot of information. Now, this is the Attorney General of the United States going on an entertainment station, Fox, not a news station, and saying, this is breaking news. I'm going to release these files. So that was February 26th. February 27th, 2025. The Epstein Files, Phase 1, released by the Trump Justice Department. Now, this was a fake, phony event, and they even were so low as to hold this fake, phony event at the White House. Man, and hopefully when he leaves office, we can have that place fumigated and put the Rose Garden back, because they have done so many things to disgrace our White House. So yeah, once the MAGA influencers that got the Phase 1 files read them, like some of them can read. Once they read them, there was an uproar. There was an uproar because this is nothing new. You haven't given us anything. What is going on? So that was a little bit of a bump, and it lasted for a little while. And then, Trump gets outrageous and starts, snatching people off the street and locking people up and destroying our economy with tariffs. And people moved on. So that was February. March 1st, Bondi once again tells Fox that Americans will get the full Epstein files subject to redactions to protect grand jury information and confidential witnesses. March 3rd, Bondi tells Hannity on Fox, the DOJ has received a new truckload of evidence from the FBI. She adds that everything's going to come out to the public. March 14th, Bondi repeats the whole truckload thing. We will get out as much as we can, as fast as we can, to the American people, because they deserve to know. March 23rd, Bondi again on Fox News. What is she running for? Auditioning for an anchor job. We are releasing all of these documents as soon as we can get them redacted to protect the victims. April 22nd, President Donald Trump is asked in the Oval Office about when the Epstein files will be released, and he says 100% of all these documents will be delivered. Now, May and June, that's when it begins. The sudden downplaying of the files and release of the files. And we now know this thanks to excellent reporting from the Wall Street Journal. And actually, we got information from Congress, from Senator Dick Durbin, who found out that more than 1,000 FBI agents were given an order by Bondi to go through all of those files, that truckload of files, and flag any time Donald Trump's name appeared. So our tax dollar going through the files of a sexual trafficker and predator, the scum of the earth, no one is lower than somebody who abuses a child. I stand by that. I think murderers are even better than child molesters. 1,000 FBI agents going through the files to find Donald Trump's name. May 7th, Bondi claims that there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. Her public claim comes shortly before the release of secretly recorded video in which she made a similar claim. Sometime in May, this is after all the thousands of FBI agents have been going through the files. You know, you'd think that they would be out like Scully and Mulder trying to find aliens rather than being in a room looking through documents. In May, Bondi briefs Trump about the Epstein files and tells him his name appears in them, along with several other high-profile figures. Now, that is according to the Wall Street Journal, and then CNN confirmed. The files appear to include several unsubstantiated claims, including about Trump, that the DOJ found to be not credible. May 18th. For the first time, the administration begins downplaying the Epstein conspiracy theories. Don't you love it? No. FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino appear together on Fox, not a news station, and say Epstein indeed died by suicide. After all the money Bongino made, saying the exact opposite. This despite both of them having promoted the conspiracy theories before joining the FBI. May 19th. The liar. The blonde Barbie liar. The White House press secretary says the administration is committed to releasing those files, but defers to the Justice Department on timing. May 29th. Bongino on Fox downplays the significance. There is nothing in the file, says Dan. Mr. T-shirt, look at my muscles. Oh my God. Quote, there is nothing in the file at this point on the Epstein case, he said. And there's going to be a disclosure on this coming shortly. He says the administration will release video of the jail on the day of Epstein's death and backs up that assertion. June 4th, Bongino is pressed on one of the horrible shows on Fox, The Liars, one of the lying shows, about the lack of Epstein disclosures. He downplays the case as a hot potato for folks and then alludes to his own evolution on the subject. I'm not paid for my opinions anymore. I work for the taxpayer now. I'm paid on evidence. That's it. How about you're paid to do whatever Donald Trump tells you to do? How about you're paid to be Pam Bondi's lap boy? You jerk. This might be my favorite. June 5th, Elon Musk claims, while lashing out at Trump, that the real reason the president is not releasing the Epstein files is because, quote, at real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. Now, Musk provides no evidence for his claim and later deletes the post while expressing regret for some of the things he said about Trump, probably no doubt on a late night drug binge. June 6th, Patel appears on Joe Rogan podcast and downplays the looming disclosures again. We're going to give you everything we can, Patel says, before adding, we're not gonna re-victimize women. We're not going to put that shit back out there. It's not happening. Because then he wins. Epstein wins, I guess. Not doing it. You want to hate me for it? Fine. You know, what gets me is when they say they're not going to re-victimize the victims, they're doing it by blaming the victims for their holding back the files. You can release everything without their names, and you know damn well you can. what we want are the names of the men, of the people who abused the women, and they're not giving that out. Patel appears to contradict Bondi's claim about tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn, telling Rogan the videos from Epstein Island are not what you want. July, the big memo, the tortured explanations. That's a quote from somewhere. I stole it. July 6th, Axios breaks the news that the DOJ has officially concluded that Epstein died by suicide and there was no client list, despite Bondi's comments in February. July 7th, this memo, here it is. I could read it, but what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to just post it on my website. I'll just post the whole thing and you can go there, gloriamoraga.com, and read it. Give me a couple days and I'll do that. The DOJ releases an unsigned memo, you chicken shits, laying out these conclusions. DOJ says it won't release any further documents because much of it is under court-ordered seal. Yeah, they reviewed all of it, didn't they? And found Trump's name. Through this review, we found no basis to revisit the disclosure of those materials and will not permit the release of child pornography, the memo says. Again, there they are. They're using the victims to cover up their crimes, alleged crimes. The memo also undercuts Bondi's claims of tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. So what was that all about? Why do that? Why go on Fox News, Fox Not News, all the time? Now, at the bottom of this unsigned bombshell memo is a link to a video. It's a 10-hour video, which is allegedly showing the outside of Epstein's cell, which is supposed to be proof that he actually killed himself. But video sleuths went through the video and read the metadata and discovered a couple of things. One, it was edited and there are parts missing. And later it was discovered this isn't even the outside of Epstein's actual cell. July 8th, Trump, for the first time, lashes out at people still asking questions about Epstein. He tells reporters, "Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years." He talks about the floods in Texas and adds, "I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this." Oh! The president goes on over the next couple of weeks to make statements about the files, suggesting that various Democrats are behind the files. They wrote the files. He doesn't make any sense at all.
A hoax. Has your attorney general told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen?
No, it's not the attorney general. No, I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. You had Christopher Wray and these characters and Comey before him. And it's a bad group. It started, actually, look at the Steele dossier that turned out to be a total hoax. The 51 agents, the intelligence, so-called intelligence agents, it was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats. And some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net. And so they try and do the Democrats' work. The Democrats are good for nothing other than these hoaxes. They're bad for policy. They're bad for picking candidates that can get elected. Like in New York, we have a communist running. He may get elected too, actually, but he'll destroy the city. No, it's I call it the Epstein hoax. It takes a lot of time and effort. They're wasting their time with a guy who obviously had some very serious problems, who died 3-4 years ago.
July 15th, Trump is asked about whether Bondi told him his name was in the files, and he denies it. No, he says. She's just given us a very quick briefing and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen, he says. July 17th, the Wall Street Journal publishes its first story. It is about a leather-bound album presented to Epstein on his 50th birthday containing notes from friends and acquaintances, and Trump's personal note is in that birthday album. That's the 17th. The 18th, Trump sues the Wall Street Journal, his friend, who's actually helped him win the presidency twice because he owns Fox News. Fox, not News. Trump calls the article false, malicious, and defamatory. He's suing Murdoch for $10 billion in damages. Now, on July 18th, Senator Dick Durbin sends a letter to the Department of Justice wanting to know why the FBI agents were told to flag Epstein records that mentioned Trump. Here's another one, July 23rd, from the Wall Street Journal. It reports that Attorney General Pam Bondi told President Trump in May that his name appeared multiple times in the Epstein documents. So he denied it, just like Nixon. And then the Journal reports that it's true, and the White House calls that fake news. Now, on Capitol Hill, all kinds of stuff is going on. First, the Senate, the Rules Committee voted not to put something on the floor to ask for release of the files. And then later, Republicans joined Democrats and voted to subpoena the DOJ and the files. They have also issued a subpoena for Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. And then for the past couple of days, the second in command of the Department of Justice, Todd Blanche, has been meeting with Maxwell. Why? If they want to know more information about the case, why aren't they talking to victims? Why are they talking to a convicted sex offender? Now, through all this, when there was a big uproar and brouhaha about why weren't the files being released by MAGAs, who now some of them have backed off. Some of them have even gone so far as to suggest that Maxwell was also a victim. And stop it. Stop it. I mean it. The woman she also abused these teenagers. She also abused them, sexual and otherwise. So just stop. You're disgusting. You're disgusting to say that. Meantime, the Congress wanted to vote on a full floor on these subpoenas and on all of the stuff that's going on. And MAGA Mike adjourned the House for the summer, even though there's budget work to do. And the budget's going to come due, and they're not going to be ready. So, yeah, that's going on Capitol Hill. It's a big mess. But Republicans are joining with Democrats to say, release the files. Release the files. Whoever's in there, you know, you've been free for a long time. Now it's time to pay up. Go to jail. Meantime, Trump has flown off to Scotland, and this is a fake, phony trip to just open up a golf course and visit his other golf course. He's going to name one of his new golf courses in his mother's name, who didn't like him, who said he was not very bright. So he's doing that. It's costing us $10 million. I mean, he's firing people left and right, cutting off Department of Education funds, which they've now had to release some of them because schools in every state, schools everywhere are up in an uproar because they can't. That federal money that's our tax dollar. That's already been allocated for schools. I want it to go to schools. What are they doing besides destroying our country? So he's flown off to Scotland, and he didn't get a warm welcome there. They've got all kinds of nasty signs up. Way to go. Way to go, people. That's just a short overview of what has been going on just this year. And I didn't get into every little nuance, and I was going to use sound bites. And it's like, this would be like 2 hours long if I used all the sound bites. I pulled a whole bunch of them. I don't know. Maybe I'll just pull a whole bunch of sound bites together and post those as well. I'm Gloria Moraga, Political Woman. Please take a moment if you enjoyed my content, if you are interested in politics and what is going on. I do post daily, shorts at least, and I'm trying to grow the channel. And I appreciate you. Thank you. Be safe.